we on the same page. So even the first opportunity when the out route came, like that was probably the second play of the game. I looked at him, you can see it on film. I was like this because we almost got one. It's like that. So his expectations is my expectations. So them picks I left out there, he expect me to have them, I expect myself to have them.
Caelan Carson made an impressive debut in his first start for the Cowboys. He played a significant role in this team's victory over the Cleveland Browns. Filling in for the injured Deron Bland, Carson faces several major challenges early this season. In this first game, he rose to the occasion and made an impact. Lining up against Amari Cooper, one of the league's most decorated route runners, known for his ability to confuse defenders, Carson stood up to the challenge. He was targeted 9 times, made 2 pass deflections, and allowed 2 receptions for 16 yards. Most importantly, he gave up no touchdowns. This performance will definitely boost the player's confidence. So when you're taking a look at Caelan Carson, it's good to see that he stepped up in a game where he was a rookie playing in a hostile environment. Wearing that number 21 jersey carries a lot of weight, especially when you're playing a cornerback position. But with Carson, it seems as if the spotlight wasn't too big for him. He went out there and had a solid debut. So on this play here, we examine Carson's ability to get in and out of his breaks. We've seen a lot of this coming out of college, but for some reason in this game, he reacted a bit quicker than what he did at Wake Forest. So Amari Cooper's going to be running an out route to the sidelines. That top wide receiver in the slot, he's going to be running across the field on a drag, crossing the hashes. They like to be able to stress out these corners, but the good thing about the Dallas Cowboys cornerbacks this season, you have guys that are very athletic, as well as guys that can be able to get in position and use their eyes well. So activating the system. So zooming in on Carson and Cooper, you see that he's getting in position and he's studying the hips of the wide receiver. Soon as Cooper gets out of his breaks, Carson goes and breaks onto the ball. And it's so good to be able to see that from a guy like Carson. You have to be able to read and react to a lot of these players because you will be dealing with some slippery wide receivers. He did end up catching the ball, but it's great to be able to see from the film, watching the cornerback's behaviors, studying his body language. When you make these type of moves, you have to throw a perfect ball because if not, these cornerbacks in the NFL, they can easily take it for 6. And players like Deron Bland is famous for being able to do these type of plays. And this is one of the first plays in this entire game, and I immediately called out his body movements. When you're lurking on a ball and you're aggressive like that, you can definitely go out there and make a difference. And there will be times if you're giving up too much cushion, they will end up making some plays from time to time, but finding ways to be able to stay close and ride these wide receivers' hip pockets, that's how you make plays on the ball. Here's another play where Carson lines up against Amari Cooper. Seeing Carson close on the ball, forcing a pass breakup, and making it difficult for Cooper was impressive. Stopping the slant is one of the toughest routes to defend, in my opinion, so it's good to see that Carson was on an earlier clock. So they will be running trips to the left side, and Amari Cooper will be doing that hard slant. And he has cooked a lot of players throughout his career with this slant play, especially when you see guys in off coverage. But if you're going to be a cornerback in Mike Zimmer's scheme, you got to be on top of it because he wants dogs on the field, and it seems as if Caelan Carson has that energy. So we'll go ahead and spin it. So watching these guys getting off the ball, you see Caelan Carson, he's backing up, he's studying his movements, he's planting that right foot right there. If you key in on that right foot, you see that Caelan Carson took off. And the details matter when it comes down to these cornerbacks attacking the ball and forcing an incompletion. And this is what you need to see from your rookie corner, Cowboys Nation. The thing is, when it comes down to that cornerback position, you got to get to the basics, watching their body movements, the way that these guys are planting. All of that matters if you're going to be an elite corner. But watching this college film, I didn't see him as snappy as he was in this game. But sometimes when the lights are bright in a hostile environment, it can bring the best out of certain players. And when you're around guys like Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland, we know that these guys are big-time ball hawks. And that type of energy can sometimes rub off on these younger players. But this is the type of play here that can cement Carson's potential as a cornerback to watch. Carson's performance won't be flawless this season. He occasionally gives up plays, especially on quick routes when he's unaware of the wide receiver's intentions. He was beaten on an out route, but learning from his mistakes will help him understand what happened and improve for future encounters with the opposition. So we'll go ahead and split it. So zooming in on Carson, you see that these guys are getting off the ball and he's running a quick out route. And the thing is, he never had advantage in the first place. With that cornerback position, depth matters. And a lot of these wide receivers in the NFL, they have an understanding of depth. And one move can force this guy to completely get separation. And next thing you know, it was a quick touchdown. But sometimes it might not always be the player. It could be coaching, because a lot of these guys, they're playing chess, not checkers, being aware when defenses is calling off man as well as press coverage. And I prefer a lot of these cornerbacks to play close to a lot of these receivers, because I feel as though that these guys are slippery and savvy enough to be able to ride these guys' hip pockets and stress them out all game. But as I mentioned, coming out of college, he does have that short-term memory. When he gets beat, he goes out there and moves on to the next play. This play here was absolutely one of my favorite moments of Carson going up against the Browns. Playing in zone coverage requires great eyes and patience. The way that he observes his side of the field and flipped his hips was impressive. These movements and patience can position a player to be around the ball and make a play. So you will see that motioning wide receiver. He's going to be running a wheel route. And this wide receiver here, he's going to be running across the field, and he's going to be splitting in between the hashes. But the patience from Carson, staying true to his zone and not being overly aggressive, this is how you can be able to get in the right position to make a play on the ball. So we'll go ahead and run it. So zooming in on Carson, just watching the patience from this player, the way that he's opening up his hips. These are the things that you see at the combine. That's why these little drills matter. But studying both of these wide receivers right here and seeing Deshaun Watson throwing the ball to this wide receiver, reading the play, next thing you know, he's jumping for the ball. He didn't end up intercepting the ball. And you know what coaches, they always say, if it touches your hands, you can be able to catch it. And zooming in on him right there, you see that he was upset about it. I love to be able to catch these things while watching film, because the next time, if you get your hands on the ball, you got to be able to take it, because making the play on that ball can be able to completely shift momentum, and it absolutely changes games. And when I study these type of plays, the movement skills, being able to open your hips, these are the things that a lot of these veteran cornerbacks do. But when you see this from a rookie cornerback, that's fireworks, Cowboys Nation. And when you have players like Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland there to guide you through your rookie season, it's going to make Carson that much more better as a player. He's from the DMV, the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. And usually when you have players coming out from here, they turn out well. Trayvon Diggs, Stephon Diggs, Chop Robinson, Jordan Seaton out of Colorado, all repping the DMV. And with Caelan Carson, he is next up, Cowboys Nation. in this final play here, it's great to see our cornerback with a smooth back pedal, locking in on the wide receiver and opening his hips. He'll face many elusive wide receivers at the top of their routes, so it's crucial to stay focused on the wide receiver and find ways to make plays on the ball. So it was awesome to see, especially considering Carson being one of the players to make things difficult for Deshaun Watson. So we'll go ahead and run it. So keying in on Carson, you see that this guy's just locking in on that wide receiver. Watching the smooth back pedal, he's opening up his hips. I love seeing these players being able to run with these wide receivers, seeing Deshaun Watson throwing a bad ball, and he tries to make a play on it. And there were a lot of times throughout this game where this guy was close to the ball, and eventually he's going to end up making a play, and that's only going to boost his confidence up. And he's one of the guys that he's not the fastest player, but he plays with great technique. He knows how to position himself well to make plays on the ball. So he did an amazing job, in my opinion. Repetition and being a sponge is only going to get this player that much more better. So with Caelan Carson this season, I'm extremely excited to be able to run film on this guy. With Deron Bland going down with an injury, we need these guys to be able to step up. Just like the pass rushers, you can't have too many of these players because sometimes cornerback 4, cornerback 5, they might end up seeing burn on the field. But being a player that has had experience playing wide receiver coming out of high school, you have a great understanding of what these wide receivers are trying to do. You can make plays on the ball, just like guys like Trayvon Diggs. But there's a lot of work that he's going to have to do. It's not perfect with this type of athlete, but I definitely see a lot of good things with this player. And having solid play in game 1 is only going to keep the fire burning. So comment below and let me know what you guys think about Caelan Carson's debut. And do you guys think that he can be able to turn it up even more as we go along in the season? So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if you don't hit it, you'll miss on fire live streams and the best Cowboys film sessions on YouTube. All right, Cowboys Nation. Talk to y'all soon. Gone.